Hello and welcome to this Warcraft free play. It's going to be the second game of this best of 3 series, and let me just pause here because it is actually the first time I am casting on the map Melting Valley. We have a couple of games recently that has Melting Valley in it, but this is actually the first on the channel. So, as always, I will show you around. Not that large in size actually. I would probably put it between Amazonia and maybe Turtle Rock. Somewhere between there. It's definitely not bigger than Turtle Rock. So yeah, let's show around. I'll turn off Fog of War as well. We have a standard 311 green creep camp, no brutes, and a couple of poachers. Nothing too dangerous over here. Going on the right, we have a troll warlord camp guarding this mercenary camp. Not sure if we're going to see mercenaries this game, considering that we do have orc players, but let's just see in the upcoming future of this game. Red creep camp, the only red creep camps of this map, is going to be the granite golem camp, similar to Amazonia, which is a 966, so yeah, that's why I kind of made that comparison. This corner gold mine, which I would consider the second base, which just has pretty much every single knoll that you can find except for the brute. Actually, we have an additional poacher compared to a brute, so there's that. Nightcrawler camp on this side of the map. I guess I'll just call it the corner. It's not necessarily the furthest of corners, but oh well. So yeah, Nightcrawler camp over there. Goblin Merchant camp, which is guarded by a Watcher Magi, which means that this Ogre Magi drops a rune of the Watcher ward that will be a permanent ward if claimed, and that's pretty useful. A normal Troll Trapper camp, nothing too difficult. It's still green. This one's an Orange Creep camp. I would say the natural, since it's, well, probably easier to clear out. I wouldn't call it necessarily easier to defend, but I guess it's definitely easier than defending the corners, since that's more far away. So anyway, we have the Goblin Laboratory camp guarded by Ogre Lord and a double Mauler. This is orange, so definitely not as strong as the reds, but obviously not. Nightcrawler in the middle is the tavern, as you would probably expect, and yeah, map is mirrored for balancing purposes. So anyway, going back to this game, we have PraDo spawning in as the purple orc player in the bottom left, who did claim game 1 for his own. He will be facing off against Xelsing, the red orc player in the top right. And yeah, I guess it was just unlucky that Xelsing lost the last game, although I would say both players played really similarly, and I was making this point in game 1, where strategies don't necessarily differ from one another, you know, depending on which matchup they're fighting. It's just generally they just do it. Like, I guess the only variety that is being shown from any of the races would probably be Night Elf, and Night Elf either have two viable pathways, I guess. It's Double Ancient of Lore or Double Ancient of Wind. Recently, or at least in the past 2 years, I guess, most people have been trying to decide whether or not it's Wind or Lore, because Lore seems to be much more reliable. I think Winds are a little more gimmicky because it relies on Cyclones and a really good early game, but other than that, yeah, most people go in Lore. So unfortunately, with Night Elf, even Night Elf is going one pathway, no matter what the matchup. But anyway, going back to this game, it's going to be a Blade Master mirror. No comment whatsoever. We rarely see any other hero being picked up other than the Blade Master, just because of how strong he is. I mean, I will gladly take a Blade Master over maybe a Turn Chieftain, a Farseer, Shadowhunter. I mean, why would you pick that first compared to the Blade Master, who obviously need levels as well, but can perform very well without them. All he needs is items. Uh, yeah, that's just my opinion. TP Scroll is being sold for an instant circlet as well as Dust of Appearance to be picked up. Now the Watcher Magi is being taken out. He is going to deal a lot of damage to the Blade Master himself, but you know, Blade Master will probably get himself the healing salves from the Voodoo Lounge. That is nearly done. Ring of Protection +3 has been picked up. Definitely not the best item that could have been dropped from that camp. I mean, PraDo has been lucky with his claws, so he'll definitely like additional damage. Meanwhile, it does look like Xelsing has the better item here. Gloves of Haste, definitely a better item compared to Ring, just because it just amplifies his damage output. Not in terms of like the amount of damage he puts out, but the number of damage or number of attacks he can execute, I guess. It's only 15% attack speed, but you know, it's eventually going to what is it? Tally up to an entire attack, so there's that. There we go with a +3 ring, so both Magi camps have been fairly useless, other than the fact that, I mean, you can claim the Watch Award, but yeah. Very disappointing from every single camp except for this one. It does look like the Blade Master got himself the +6 claws from this Troll Trapper camp. Yep, definitely better than the Gloves of Haste. So it looks like PraDo looking good with his items so far. Stronghold tech for both players, I would imagine. Yep, actually fairly similarly timed as well. It's most likely going to be just the same army composition. I actually missed this creep camp when I was introducing the map, but hopefully you guys don't mind too much. Oh, I think PraDo got that one. Dust Prince is going to be used on the Blade Master of PraDo, so he will be revealed if he wind walks out, and I don't think he can slip in a Creepjack on the Overseer just because the dust is still on him, but yeah, the dust is running out. And he's gonna go after the grunt. I was gonna make this point in game 1, but I guess I didn't find the opportunity to, but like I guess it kinda leads in well with the argument of the Blade Master. I mean, Blade Master is really great, but you know, one race that the Blade Master doesn't do well at is against orcs. Why? I mean, like, I'll paint an image for you guys. Footmen, 420 health. Ghouls, like 315 or something like that. Archers, something low as well. Grunts, 700. Like, the difference is that the grunts have so much health, it's gonna be so hard for the Blade Master to go for an assassination mission. Cause, like, what he needs to do is just rely on finding red hit point grunts, but you know, even that is kind of hard. But yeah, definitely a pain for the Blade Master to deal with this game, and I think something very important was dropped here, and hopefully PraDo does not forget that. He was lucky enough that he got the Tome of Experience last game. Windwalk is about to expire, and Xelsing's just playing around with this. And PraDo's gonna get that. Wow. So, that must be really annoying, especially when you juggled so much of the aggro from the Overseer, and then you just lose it anyway. I mean, come on. That's just so demoralizing. I think PraDo should seriously stop that. It's really rude of himself. He's gonna go after the grunt, but will he be able to get it? I don't think so. I mean, Hex is available. Nope, it looks like the Troll Berserker is gonna kill it himself, so neutral experience. No experience was given. Oh, it looks like the Shadowhunter is out, and I guess he picked the Tome of Experience. Yeah, let's just say that he picked it up, so Yeah, he did not forget about that one. So it's all good. Actually, that's actually really bad for Xelsing's part because he's kind of behind in terms of levels himself. I mean, the Shadow Hunter for PraDo just got level 2. Meanwhile, Xelsing still at level 3 with his Blade Master against level 4 or level 3, and Xelsing Shadow Hunter is level 1. Almost level 2 though. Thankfully the Ogre Lord was taken down, and the item is going to be the Health Stone, so that's 500 straight up health, or just like 1 hit point per second regeneration. Yep, I like to make the comparison that the Health Stone is essentially a combination of the Greater Healing Potion and the Ring of Regeneration. Meanwhile, the Mana Stone is the Sobi Mask and Greater Mana Potion. It's a fairly accurate description actually. Okay, Hex and Ensnare on the Blade Master of PraDo. He's still able to hit the invisible unit, primarily because of the Watcher Ward. I mean, the Watcher Ward has so much distance that it covers that I guess sometimes players like to bring out the Ogre Magi into this part and kill him there, because that's probably where you get the most distance covered by that ward. Because I mean, it's getting blocked by these trees, which is kind of not good, but yeah. Sometimes people do that, sometimes people don't. I mean, it's kind of hard for Xelsing to have done that because he only had a Grunt and Blade Master. Same thing for PraDo as well, but you know, if you're a human, then you could probably abuse that fact. Because humans are OP. Anyway, Coda Beast is out for PraDo. What is Xelsing going for? He was at 50 supply, so I think he has a Coda Beast of himself. Oh, there it is. It's training. So 50 versus, I'm assuming 50. Yeah, both players are pretty even in terms of their army supply. Xelsing is going to try and go for some economic harassment on PraDo's base. Nicely timed battle stations for PraDo. I mean, he hasn't lost a single peon. This is the point that I wanted to make in the previous game, or actually I kind of did. Xelsing's not that great in terms of controlling multiple things within a short period of time. I mean, he hasn't reacted very well when his peons got attacked, and yeah, that kind of hurts him in later on, because he's unable to sustain himself with a big enough army to fight PraDo's. Healing Wave has been tossed out, and then the Blade Master attacks. Very interesting that PraDo would do that, because I mean, he just saw the Grunt getting healed up, and that obviously should tell you that it's probably harder to kill the Grunt. But anyway, it looks like the Blade Master is still scouting out. The Voodoo Lounge is placed over here, which is rather curious, but I think that's because Xelsing was cleaning up creep camps back there. And it looks like Xelsing kind of exploited that little trick right there. If you don't know, the Blade Master can actually sneak himself underneath the Coda Beast. I know it's kind of weird, but with the Windwalk unit collision ignore, you can just move within and then just start attacking. Thankfully, PraDo was fast enough to react and issue a new move command, which, you know, fixes up the unit collision. Anyway, Xelsing's still running around here. Ogre Lord is going to be pulled off over here, and PraDo is going to try and kill it, but Xelsing has things in mind. The Coda Beast has been ensnared, but that's pretty much it. Like, some damage has been dealt, but other than that, the Coda Beast is not actually getting killed. We did have a speed scroll being used by PraDo, but it has expired now. Xelsing is going to use a speed scroll of his own. Xelsing has devoured a Grunt with his Coda Beast, meanwhile PraDo has not. And that might be a little important, because it's essentially taking out an entire unit, which is kind of big because Orc units have like very little units, but pretty strong individual units themselves. PraDo looking to try and devour, but the ensnares are constantly keeping him out. Xelsing and PraDo has brought themselves Peon to try and share the damage with the Spirit Link. Healing waves are being tossed out left and right, but Xelsing's has a fair amount of mana. Meanwhile, the Shadow Hunter for PraDo probably has one left. He also has a mana pot, so that's something to consider. PraDo's Blade Master is going after these grunts. Meanwhile, Xelsing's is looking after for those Spirit Walkers. Oh, but there we go with Blade Master going after Xelsing's Blade Master, but he did use that Health Stone. That is going to turn around quite a bit, and GG from PraDo actually. That is going to be Xelsing's game, despite having the lower score. Interesting. But as you can see here, unit score was kind of close, but I think Xelsing had the better fight because, I mean, he shut down that Kodo Beast for a fairly long time. But the hero score, I mean, it doesn't really matter too much if your Blade Master, you know, instantly gets all of his health pulled. But anyway, that is going to be Game 2. We will be going to Game 3 of this best of 3, so yeah, see you guys there.